who are former Tariq Nasheed watchers, and you want to decide it was too much and too many dolls and too many frogs with titties, if you decided that you want to come over here and get some political education, we're going to start with this book. That way we learn how to do things that are good for us as a group, as opposed to one man being in the winner circle. So let's be a part of the collective. Now, we're not going to have no takeovers of ADOS chapters and all that stuff. I know you're plotting. We are all about a collective. Okay? So let's keep that in mind. Okay? So if you have not subscribed, family, please, 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 please subscribe. If you have not subscribed already, if you are not here and have subscribed already, please take a moment and do that as well. I want to start with one thing and I'm going to go to another thing. And so we're going to deal with real hard politics at the beginning of this, but we're going to go for a little while into some other stuff. You know, you have to kind of wean yourself off of these little kind of weird fights with weird people. You kind of have to wean yourself off of it. You can't go off of it all at once, especially when they still be talking. So you got to wean yourself. So let's start with politics and let's frame it for the people who have not been here the whole time. Let's show some energy, shall we? So anyway, family, listen. I always get up, but I got to watch it because I got to watch it. I got to watch being energetic, you know, well, we'll talk about all that later. I want to talk about, as we start off the show, I want to talk about, I don't know how many of you all have been watching the Parchment and the prison riots, and the deaths and the conditions in Mississippi. I don't know how many of you all have been following that. I understand that it was a busy week and maybe you could not have, and you did not get around to it, but it's horrible. I mean, there's really no other way to put it other than the way these inmates are living in these prisons and what they are living through. These are majority ADOS, in this case, majority ADOS men. And what they are living through in those prisons. But I want to tell you something. I want to connect that to something else. Because I thought about putting the data up again tonight. But I did not, because I didn't think, it's necessarily necessary. But we have more, when you talk about prison numbers, more black men than women incarcerated around the globe. And understand that when we talk about that, I want us to understand, first of all, before we get started, that we as a country, not just as a group of people, not just as black people, allowed a whole group of people, when we talk about black men, to be warehoused in prison. And I want to talk about that as a political problem, because people love to talk about that as an individual problem, or, if we just got our paper right, or we just got our game right, or if we just got our... No, that's not the way politics works. And so politics is an expression of power. If you don't remember anything else I say, remember, politics is an expression of power, okay? Now, in this case, it's an expression of collective power, okay? An expression of collective power. When you see this kind of group, warehouse, what that shows you is that we are a group that lacks collective power, political power, and we're not wielding anything. That's why they can't do it. So let me just, for those of you who may not have been aware, let's talk a little bit about it. In the 5 days since Mississippi Department of Corrections officials locked down prisons statewide after an inmate was killed, 3 more inmates have died and several more have been injured. Now let's look at some of the conditions that these inmates are living in and through. If you're eating, turn away for the next probably 3 to 5 minutes and we will come back to it. Okay? Give you a minute to turn away for just a moment. But these are the conditions that they are living in. This is Mississippi. Talking about Parchment, we're talking about, and from what I heard, the whole state prisons was on lockdown. But this is what is happening right now. These are the conditions. I saw some inmates walking through and there was mold everywhere and there was drywall and paint was falling. The place was condemned. And that is their living situation. Somebody said that prison dates back to slavery. There's slavery. For us, slavery is always the line that you can draw. That's the water. Like I said, keep turning away until I tell you to turn back, fam. If you eating or you got a soft stomach, or I understand some, you got a sour stomach, like the old people say. This is the next one. You in Mississippi reading Waterboy, call in when it's call in time. When it's time to take the calls. And what I want to go through is that this is, remember what I said. Remember what I said. This is a political problem. This is not a problem of well, this is just whatever. This is a problem. I'm going to draw a line to what happened to Mississippi and the Jim Crow laws and everything that's going on there. Like the person said, they date back to slavery. There is a tie that binds all of this together. And if you don't understand this, and if you don't get active on behalf of this, if you align yourself with people who are trolling as opposed to people who are doing real work, we're going to be stuck here for a minute. Now, some of us, remember what I said. Remember what I said. Part of the problem is, and I tweeted this out, you cannot substitute selling a product for politics. Consumerism is not collective uplift. Consumerism is not collective uplift. I have no problem whatever you gonna sell or whatever, but please do not mistake that. Do not be confused. These two things are not the same. So let's talk a little bit about it. Here, because they a June 2009 inspection report from the Mississippi State Department of Health reveals the condition inside the Mississippi State Penitentiary at Parchment. The report shows that many of the cells in the prison either had no power, no pillows, no mattresses, or all three. Isn't that what it said? Or all three. You got to think about that. Now just look, let's just take a moment. We're not going to take a long time, but just take a moment to look at a couple of these reports, because the reports are right here. Building A, Zone A, Cell 26, no lights, hole in the wall near the sink, no lights, no sockets, no lights in the shower. That's just one of them. We can go to the next one. Inoperable toilet, tower door broken, no power in the building, no water pressure, no cold water, no window screen, need a light bulb, complaining of rats and roaches, no power, no water, no a lavatory sink, black mold in the shower, no power, no water. Power runs off cell 60. Well, they all running off the same cell. No water at lavatory sink. No cold water at lavatory. Let's go to the next one. We're just going to go through a couple of these reports. And the head of prison, that division, kept saying, we need more money. This is funding. Understand, fam, that funding is politics. Funding is politics. That's all it is. Again, no lights, no water. No hot water at lavatory sink number 62. No cold hot water at lavatory sink. These are all 2019 reports. All 2019 reports. They knew very well. They just didn't care. This should be considered cruel and unusual punishment. No lights, no power, no lights, no mattress, holes in the walls, no lights, no power, no mattress. Mop Mop sink stopped up in hallway. Inoperable sink. No lights. Shower inoperable. These are all the reports. No power. No window screen. No power, no power, no power, no lights. No power. First faucet and shower out of order. I don't know what that says. Need water cooler on zone. No power, no power, no sink inoperable. These are not living conditions, family. No power, no power, no lights. Hole in the wall. Listen, you get the gist. These are not living conditions. Last one, no lights, no lights. Same thing. Same thing. Sink missing, faucet. Understand, family. This is criminal conduct. And I want to tie it all the way to something, because one of the things that we like to say, we like to say a lot of stuff, right? And one of the things we have to understand that Mississippi is 38% black. That's the highest black percentage in the South. 38% black. Now you have to understand, well, if you ask yourself, if they have that percentage, how do they maintain the power? That's a large number. How do the white Mississippians maintain the power if we have these many blacks? How do they do it? Well, it's not hard. Understand that it's really not hard when you think about it. When you try to figure it out, it's not hard how they do it. They do it through politics. That's how power is maintained. And that's why I always say we need to do more politics, not less. See, people say, well, Yvette, just voting ain't done nothing. You doggone skippy it ain't. Because that's the end of a political process or the beginning of a new one. Voting is like, maybe, it's less than 10%, maybe that, of what you need to do. There's a whole lot of other stuff, from political education to local politics to understanding what's happening to understanding budgets, that goes into it. But let me just tell you this, politics is power. That's where the money is. That's where all the rights are that you want to enjoy. That's the quality of life. So what I'm telling you is that anybody that tells you, well, we just not gonna vote. We just not gonna vote if we don't get Tangibles2020. When last time you heard somebody say Tangibles2020? They threw that whole hashtag away. And you ain't say, all them people who say FBA, y'all didn't say nothing. That hashtag been in the trash for a minute because you don't believe it. You don't believe in politics. You dig? You never did. So why don't you go back to, let me just be petty for 1 second. Go back to, what you call that thing? What was it called? Melanoid empowerment. Go back to melanoid empowerment. Because if you really believed that you were doing something, you wouldn't have dropped that hashtag. You would have kept going with that hashtag. And let me just say, all you FBA people, one thing you gotta learn about politics is accountability. You gotta hold your leaders accountable, and that is a leader. You gotta hold your leaders accountable. If I drop ADOS today, everybody will hold me accountable. That's what people do. You can't just sit around and not hold people accountable. If somebody say they want tangibles, they just can't stop talking about it in the middle of an election year and go on vacation. That don't make much sense. But we'll get to that little shady stuff in a minute. Now, let me get back to politics and draw a line from these cruel and unusual punishment in these jails and politics. For those who don't understand why we should be involved in politics or do politics, understand that you can draw a line from Jim Crow and them trying to preserve white power all the way to what's happening in those jails today. You could even draw a line to how those men got incarcerated, the circumstances, and why they were warehoused that way. You can draw a line to all of that. But let's just start right here, shall we? Okay. Now let's talk about it. Good NPR article. There's a lawsuit. So it says the target of the lawsuit is what was called the Mississippi Plan. codified in the state's 1890 Constitution to take political power out of the hands of African Americans, and it was extremely effective, says Pamela Wu, an attorney with the I don't do anything with the Southern Poverty Law Center. They a bunch of but this lawsuit is important. Now listen to what it says. The Constitutional Convention was called after Reconstruction, when African Americans were winning elected office after the Civil War. The framers explicitly stated it is the manifest intention of this convention to secure the state of Mississippi white supremacy, according to the journal of the proceedings. So understand that what they're saying is that the whole point was white supremacy. That's why they have it set up a certain way. We're going to get into how they got this whole thing set up in terms of how you vote and how the votes get distributed and who gets elected. They set this whole thing up so we could lose. It was headlined to keep political power in the hands of white people who were outnumbered by free black people and their descendants. Ain't that something? It's not that something. To that end, they adopted a two-tier path to win statewide office, like governor, attorney general. Candidates must get both a majority of the popular vote and win in a majority of Mississippi's 122 state house districts. Only 42 of which are majority black. Otherwise, the state House of Representatives gets to decide. They done locked in the power. Locked in the power for themselves and locked us out. I can draw a line from that all the way to those men sitting in those jail cells. I can draw a line. Now, this is what I just said. African Americans are about 38% of Mississippi's population and tend to vote Democratic, while Republicans dominate the political landscape, including control of the legislature. So understand how that works out. You control the legislature, it flips back to you, you choose. It's a setup. Including, since Reconstruction in Mississippi, the state with the highest population of African Americans, there has not been a single listen to this, there has not been a single black statewide office locked out. Isn't that what we talk about all the time? Being locked out? That's one of the arguments from 4 African Americans who are suing in a case backed by the National Democratic Redistricting Committee Foundation, the Political Action Committee headed by former U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder. Now, here's the thing. That's great that he's doing that. But here's the thing. That's also the person who didn't hold Wall Street accountable at all. So you can't piecemeal this thing out. That's what you have to do. Like, we're in a space where you have to be like, you have to be, in terms of your politics, you have to be race first. There's no other way to do it. There's no other way that wins political power. And you have to understand something. You have to understand what Mississippi, this is another image just to show you what they were dealing with in the prisons. It was described as it says behind bars, the violence in Mississippi. Ticking time bomb, violent surges amid guard shortage, lockdown extraordinarily, because I'm going back and forth because these things go together. Gangs, private Mississippi prison operator denies gangs are in charge. Trump hailed Mississippi prison reforms. Numbers reflect grim reality. Yeah, looks pretty grim. And it looks pretty predictable too. This is how groups that are not in power get treated. The leader of Mississippi's underfunded prison system was pleading with lawmakers for money to hire more guards and pay them better in 2012 when he warned, "I see trouble down the road." Christopher Epps, a longtime Department of Corrections employee, would later go to prison himself for collecting $1.4 million in bribes. But during budget hearings in October 2012, he said keeping salaries for guards the lowest in the nation will only work as long as we don't have an uprising. The uprising arrived last week when 5 inmates died at the hands of fellow prisoners, and 2 of the state's largest prisons were rocked by what corrections officials call major disturbances between gangs. Some observers call them riots. When they're on lockdown, if they can't keep people safe, we've got some administrative issues, said Scott Colum, a district attorney in Northeast Mississippi. I'm supposing we do. I'm supposing we do. And that is absolutely right. But you can draw, family, you can draw a line between what I just read to you about those prisons and the Jim Crow laws and slavery. You can draw a line all the way through it. And the one thing that I have to make clear, and I keep saying this, I keep repeating it because I want it to stick. Politics is power. This is your life. See, I think, some of you all want to talk about this when I talk about, even when we talk about this past week and everything, and Tariq Nasheed and Yvette, and you want to talk about this in kind of theoretical ways. Well, who's right? Who's wrong? Well, he got a point and you got a point. This is not a theoretical thing. This is not a theoretical discussion. You have a son that is in jail or prison on a marijuana charge or something he might not have even done. And now he's being tortured behind bars. That is a political problem. And what I'm trying to tell you here, and I'm not even trying to be petty when I say this. I'll get petty in a minute. But I'm not trying to be petty when I say this. Tariq Nasheed cannot solve that political problem for you. There is nothing that he can do. If he could have done it, he would have done it. He's been in this space, how many hidden colors we have. He's been in this space long enough. If he could have done it, he would have done it. He ain't done it because he can't do it. This is a problem of collective politics. You only solve these problems because this is a problem of what race means in America. And I'm not talking about being somebody who is black from an elite family who just got here. I'm talking about being ADOS and being a bottom caste and what that means for us. You do not solve that with a purchase. It's never going to happen. I don't know how many times I got to say it, but it's never going to happen. I don't care. I'm not saying nobody can't put out a documentary. Anybody can put out whatever they want to put out. I can't stop them. I'm just saying, if you look to that as some kind of empowerment for yourself, you are wrong. People love to talk tough on YouTube and talk about how we got to get the culture in order. Bull S. That's not it. We got to get the politics in order. And I'm talking about local level all the way on up. But you can start local. You can start at the dog catcher level. I don't care whether you start with your local public administrator, who you start with. What ADOS has already started doing. You do not do that by just, we got to start getting the culture together. What good is the culture if all of your men are in jail? How does that change how you going to change the culture? You got to change the politics. What good is the politics if you have no job? What good is the culture if you have no jobs? You can have the best culture in the world. Because our culture is mostly American culture. You can have the best culture in the world and you ain't got no job. You went to school, went to college, you ain't got no job. It's not going to fix it. It doesn't fix it. Black empowerment will not come with the purchase of any product. It will come when we start getting together and coalescing around a specific agenda. And the reason I say Democratic down ballot is not, I've said this 10,000 times, but there are 10,000 knuckleheads. So the reason I say this, even if you go to the voting booth and there's nothing on there, there's no, oh, you say all the Democrats say nothing. Well, then you vote for whatever referendum or tax hike or whatever you vote for. You vote for that or against it. Because if you can't find something to vote for, you can usually find something to vote against. But let me say the other reason I say that. The other reason I say that is to keep you politically engaged. So that you don't look for an excuse just to be lazy and sit home and not really engage your politics and read about your politicians and read books about politics. If you decide you're just not going to vote, most people decide, I'm not really going to pay attention to politics in any kind of way. So I take away that card from the deck that allows you to be lazy, to give yourself a pass. Because there are some things in your life that should not get a vote. Being lazy should not get a vote. Not feeling like it should not get a vote. I would rather laugh with Tariq than learn with Yvette should not get a vote. At some point, you have to decide whether you are a grown person or a child. And grown people move with grown people and do grown things. They don't sniggle and giggle. Even when they laugh at real-time comedies. They laugh at real comedy. Not no other stuff. They don't laugh at silly stuff. You know, as you get a certain age, your tastes are supposed to grow with you. It's just what's supposed to happen. I think sometimes we don't know how to grow up. But we don't have a whole lot of time to learn. We just don't. Underfunded prisons. We're talking about tangibles. Now we don't talk about tangibles no more. When you abdicate all politics, see, we can all have a conversation and a debate about how we do politics, right? You can say, well, Yvette, I want to vote this way, and we can have a debate all day. I don't have no problem with that. But when you say I just want to do a total abdication, what you're telling me is, Yvette, I just want to be lazy. Or what you're telling me is that I'm gonna tell these people to do an abdication, and I'm gonna tell these people that because I don't want to have to know nothing or learn nothing. So if I tell them just don't vote or ever be involved in politics, I ain't gotta learn nothing either. And it sounds real powerful when you say it. No tangibles, no vote. No tangibles, no vote. Sound powerful when you say it. But then you look around and you're still living in the same situation. You didn't vote last election for that, and you still sinking in poop. Still got hookworms. Still got bad prison conditions. Still ain't making no money. Still driving Uber. Still driving Lyft. But he told you no tangibles, no voting. You didn't vote. And what happened? See, what you got to do if the Democrats don't come around, you just got to make them lose the White House. If they don't come around, it's Democratic down ballot. And if you go all the way down the ballot and you can't find nobody, then you vote for the referendum. Or you vote for the tax hike or decrease or what they're going to do with the dirt or the birds or whatever. Every district got a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo on the thing. But it really matters because it's really about how they're going to distribute tax dollars, so it matters. But all this stuff about what you not going to do and where you not going to be. And I tell you what I ain't going to do. And I tell you I ain't going bet and I ain't with that. You're abdicating power. That's really our last bastion of power. And they're trying to take that too. I just don't understand. And let me just address, I'm not even trying to be petty, but I'm gonna end the show a little early today so I can let y'all chime in on I'm gonna let y'all chime in on the week's events or whatever. I know y'all got a lot to say, but let me just address some things because you can't tell me I can't talk and everybody else gets to talk. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna say what I want to say. Let's just clear that up. Some of y'all had questions about why, or you couldn't understand why, I addressed or I kept addressing Tariq Nasheed. And this is the only way I can kind of say it to you. I said it to a friend the other day. This way, you don't, when you're dealing with a bully, and that's what Tariq is, right? That's what, that's what this morning was about. I honestly don't know who snitches from Hawaii. I don't know who snitches from you. You supposed to be at the damn resort, and you over there. Hello, is this the government? Somebody done use government resources. No, Tariq, ain't nobody did that. Shut up. Read a book. And I'm tired of only book Negroes reading being 48 Laws of Power. Read another book. Because if you read 48 Laws of Power and understood it, well, first of all, it don't work if everybody reading the same book. But second of all, if you read it, you know that, like, part of the thing you do is, like, you pick your marks carefully. You have to know your mark. You don't know this mark because I don't ever give up. And the second thing I'll say is part of the reason I had to deal with Tariq is because he's like a Tasmanian devil. Well, what do you mean, Yvette? You do politics. What do you mean he's a Tasmanian devil? You see the Tasmanian devil, how he spin all around like that? He just do-do-do-do-do. Have you ever seen him? Have y'all ever seen the Tasmanian devil? He just spin around. Well, that's what Tariq is, except it's like, imagine if the Tasmanian devil threw poop. Like, just imagine that for a second. Like, if he just threw poop around as he spun around. And I always say, stay on your square, right? Stay on your square, right? How do you stay on a square if the Tasmanian devil is hitting you with whole turds? It's impossible. Like, I don't care how good of a fighter you are, you don't want to be hit with poop all the time. You're just like, how can I stay on this square? It's just too much poop. He's just spinning around and throwing poop. And what do I mean by throwing poop? He just says anything. And then when he says it, as opposed to thinking about it, his people, I don't even call them FBA because FBA is a clone. His groupies, I don't know what these people call themselves, but they just come to you with the same thing he just said. So they'll come to you, Yvette, I don't know if you heard, Yvette. Psst. Who is Paul Sowers? Child, Paul Sowers is a writer who was writing about ADOS for years. I've been retweeting him for years. All the while Tariq was trying to be echo chamber so he could monetize what we were doing, I was tweeting about him then. But Tariq just didn't care then because he saw dollar signs. But see, he's the kind of person, if he can't monetize it, he's going to destroy it. You better watch these agents of chaos and destruction. And you deal with them. If you do not deal with them, what happens is, when you start doing something, if you don't get them a piece of the pie, they start throwing poo. And you over here trying to fight white supremacy, and poo, a turd, hit you right there. What you gonna do? You can't do nothing with that. You can't fight with that. Nobody wants to get, I don't care how strong you are, nobody wants to get hit with poo. You can't deal with that. It's poo. And he just throws stuff out to see what sticks because he knows he's dealing with people who don't really know what ADOS is, even though they jumped on board of FBA just because he said so. Right? So he'll say, what's the LGBT organization? Well, wait a minute. What do you mean? Does Antonio County straight? Well, I know I got to see a picture. Show me a picture. Wait a minute. He's got to prove to you his sexuality. And everybody's like, yeah, you got to show a picture. Then I can say, wait a minute. I did a video about how the LGBT are like shoehorning themselves into ADOS, and it never should have been there. And the same thing for the women's movement. I have a whole video saying that a long time ago. Have a whole video going to bat for black men in a way Tariq Nasheed never has. A long time ago. What? Brains misfired. Shorts. Just throwing poo. Nobody wants, you have to deal with that. You have to deal with people who want to monetize all aspects of what you're doing. Oh, well, Yvette, I heard you took down Nasheed's GoFundMe or Kickstarter. No. What I said was that his fight with us, like, you don't get it because of us. Because you started fighting with us, so you didn't meet your goal. I said, that's why you didn't meet your goal. Nobody took down your Kickstarter. And if I did, why would I just, oh my God, y'all just let him, he just say anything. And he just call anybody an agent, and people just, oh, yeah. Yeah, I think she is an agent. But let me just say one thing about agents. And I'm not saying nothing about nobody. I'm not calling nobody out. I'm not saying anything. I just heard a little bit online yesterday about liens. And I just wanted to say something, because sometimes you rest real easy on a lien. And sometimes that's because you have a history where you're protected. Now, I don't know if this refers to anybody. I don't know if this refers to anyone. I don't know. But what I am telling you is that you have to be very careful of the people you accuse of being agents, because the people who are the agents are sometimes the people you don't suspect. Sometimes the people who are agents are the people who have blue checks and call people race soldiers all the time, and they never get in trouble. They never get, like, Twitter never does anything to them. Ain't that something? How you can just say what you want to say, and then people say you can't dox nobody, you can't do that, and you don't get in no kind of trouble. And there's a lot of people who have been agents. They Kente cloth collaborators. Kente cloth collaborators. Well, what do you mean, Yvette? What is it? What is that? Well, there was this photographer who was an FBI informant. At the trial of Emmett Till's murderers, he defied a judge's no camera order and got off one so quick, short frame, as an accuser fingered one of the killers. He hung around a local blues club and photographed the rising star Elvis Presley, and as he soaked up the musical culture he later reinterpreted for the rest of the world. He was with Martin Luther King Jr. aboard one of the first integrated bus rides in Montgomery, Alabama in 1956. And he was there when King lay in the funeral home in 1968. But he was a Fed. He was a collaborator. He got a little Kente cloth hat on in this picture, but that ain't changed nothing. You got to be very careful. Ask yourself. Sometimes, and there's no hard and fast rules. With this man, he was just always around. The photographer can always be around listening. You got to just watch sometimes people who are just always around listening. Always around like this and taking pictures and snapping and always telling you to smile. That's one thing. But you also have to watch people who play a role that always gets in the way of true politics in terms of transformative politics. Stuff we can do with and for each other. People who always say, that ain't gonna never work. Don't do that. Why would you do that? And the thing I go back to, I'm not making no accusations, but the thing I kind of go back to all the time is right before Byron Allen's Supreme Court case. I don't know if you all at the beginning, I don't know if you all remember, but Tariq Nasheed came on here and called us everything a child of God. He said it was a CBS conspiracy. He got Judge Joe Brown involved. He said Jamie Young was a Fed. I put up at that time, I think I put up 10 different conspiracy theories that he came up with. Now, the thing I ask myself is, why would anybody come up, even if you're going to fight with me, people love to fight with me, and I don't care. I don't give two F's if you want to fight with me. But the thing I have to ask myself, if you're going to fight with me, why is this the time you choose to put all your cards on the table and fight to the doggone death right now? Let me see if I can find that one. I thought I had that list right here, but I don't see it. But I have to ask myself, I put together a list of 10 different conspiracy theories. We're a Democratic shield. Now, remember, Talib Kweli said we were a Republican front. We were a shield for the DNC, except we just went to battle with the DNC not too long ago. Or the head of African American policy, I think, at the DNC. He made up like 10 different conspiracy theories. He made up a different theory today. They put my social security number out. Remember what? Oh, let me get petty. He did an Instagram. Somebody lean. This Negro said lean, brother. What you know about a lean? A lean ain't a bad thing. And for all of you all who don't know, I want you to start paying particular attention to this man's affectation. Please do. Because whenever he gets stuck he just starts repeating stuff. Arlene, nah, Tariq, you just dusty like everybody else, like all the other. And stop saying other stupid stuff. I'm tired of you. God, I'm tired of you, chipmunk. Oh, I'm tired of you. Also explain that, I have to also explain something else. Ain't nobody with nobody social, Negro. Read California law. Ain't nobody use no government database, chipmunk. Listen to this. Read the California Civil Code 1798. Everybody who don't got it, get it. 1798.89. Unless otherwise required to do so by state or federal law, no person or entity, governmental agency shall present, recording, or filing with a county recorder a document that is required by any provision of law to be open to the public if that record displays more than the last 4 digits of the social security number. More than the last 4 digits of the social security number. Unless otherwise authorized by state or federal law, a document containing more than the last 4 digits of a social security number is not entitled for recording. You see what you did? You doxed somebody for no reason. You're a horrible person. And you should never have been elevated. And listen, let me tell y'all something else. I told y'all this a long time ago. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this for the people. I've been told y'all. In regard to this whole Nasheed BS. A lot of people, let me try to pull up one thing real quick. A lot of people keep saying, well, Yvette, y'all Negroes, some of y'all real good at playing quarterback. Y'all real good at playing quarterback. Next day quarterback, Monday morning quarterback, or whatever. But let me just say this. Well, Yvette, I don't understand why y'all let him in. I don't understand. Hold up a minute. We did not let him in anything. He was elevated when we got here for reasons I have no idea. I didn't know half of the stuff about this man. I did not know. You all, well, Yvette, don't be divisive. Why would you want to be divisive? He just trying to help, Yvette. He just trying to echo y'all a little bit. He don't mean no harm. And he's snitching from Hawaii. But I thought he was on code. And let's just, before I get to this, let's just not forget that Tariq Nasheed was the one who went off code in the first place. At the conference, Serena Harris talked about how bad opportunity zones are. That was our code. That was how we feel as ADOS about opportunity zones. You decided to jump out in favor of Donald Trump's opportunity zones. You went off code. You didn't DM nobody. You didn't say to nobody. You just jumped out there like a big dumb frog. You want to put titties on a frog. You did that, jumped out there. You hop. Look before you leap next time, Negro. Jesus. And look at this. Diddy wants Comcast to stop using his network as an example of inclusion discrimination suit. See, everything that came out later proved that Tariq Nasheed was just doing what he normally does. He just throws out a bunch of accusations and then his people, without thinking, just kind of run with him. Well, let me run with it. And just, Tariq said this. What? You see, everything that came out proved that everything he said during that Supreme Court week was absolutely false. Judge Joe Brown absolutely was a moron. He been saying all kind of stupid stuff on Twitter, and y'all say, and now y'all in my DMs like, yeah, I guess he is stupid. I guess he do say a bunch of stupid stuff. I told you that then. Tariq Nasheed told y'all the Civil Rights Act of 1866 didn't even matter no more. He ain't no attorney. I don't even know if that man graduated high school. And he interpreting law talking about I was on the phone with Judge Joe Brown. Good God Almighty. Listen, I can't have no politics if we all just gonna be this stupid. Now I know I got love. ADOS, those of you who are online doing your thing, y'all already know I got love for y'all. But good gosh of Moses, I've seen too much stupid. I feel like this whole week my IQ has dropped by 20 points. Everybody, y'all who follow Tariq, y'all got to do better. You all have to develop some kind of sense of thinking for yourself. You cannot view your identity through him. You can't believe everything he says is true. You can't do that. That's not going to work. We can't do politics if y'all just going to do that. If y'all just going to run to me with every accusation he make. Look it up. Why you so scared of him that you want? Well, he said, but I won't say nothing to him. You know, I don't want to talk. I don't want to say nothing. You know, he'll block me. Who gives a damn? Not who? Why? Good God! If y'all don't stop being so scared of these pimp parasites, I don't know what to do. There ain't no way forward if you can't get yourself together. Understand that Tariq Nasheed attacked. Now he positions himself as this woke man, as this man of the people, and he's down for the family. But he positioned himself in the 2 days before the Supreme Court case with Byron Allen versus Comcast. He positioned himself against the Civil Rights Act of 1866. That's a Civil Rights Act of America in terms of right after the slaves were free. He positioned himself against that, and he made up a bunch of concocted BS to do it. He made up a bunch of conspiracy theories to do it. Now when we talk about black men in prison, we talk about rights, because that's what you're talking about there is not just about wealth, it's about rights. It's all tied together. When you want to talk about that, who looks a problem? Who looks more suspect? Me or Tariq? I'm not asking you to do anything. I want you to just, for yourself, you don't got to tell me. Just make your own assessment. Just think about it. When you go lay down. See, when you don't judge what you think or feel. Just feel it. If you feel it in a non-judgmental way, it's easier to be honest with yourself. And if you are honest with yourself, I think you will say that the man who's in Hawaii is more suspicious in terms of his aims. Understand what he did. He said that. Then he said single black women shouldn't get reparations. Now, y'all keep telling me single black women shouldn't get reparations. You know how many single black women we have? Single black moms or whatever. We ain't doing this single black mother is what he said. Understand this. Don't tell me that's a long time ago. Because I posted that thing like 12 times when I was playing the dozens with this Negro. And he never once said, you know what? I said that a long time ago. I apologize. See, I used to be real on Pan-Africanism and helping everybody. I used to be that in my 20s, and I have come out of that. And if somebody brought up something in my 20s, I would say, yeah, I did that. I apologize. I never wore the shiki or nothing, but I came from Howard University, and they taught us that we are in a global community. So I would say, yeah, I was down with the Pan-African stuff, but I apologize. I did that stuff in my 20s. I'm much older now. I'm 44. That's crazy. I would say that I did it. How do you see that? And you never say, you know why you don't say you apologize? Because you still believe it. There's a tweet up with Tariq saying he's a conservative. I believe it. You're a conservative. That's why you jumped on board with Trump. That's why you don't. That's why the single mother stuff. That's why you do all the stuff you do. Go join them. But don't play these games. See, we trying to have a serious group and you just keep getting in the way. You like a big baby. You just keep falling. And we tired of it. Just go do you. Go do Melanoid Nation some more. Because you couldn't milk this. Go do your conference or whatever. Y'all deserve this Pan-Africanist sloppy stuff he gonna do. Go do that. I don't care. It's not my business. I think the people, I would never have taken down Tariq's conference. I think the people who paid for it deserve whatever he gonna cobble together. I think they deserve it. I don't think I should take it down. I don't think anybody should try to take it down. And I have not. I would not. They deserve each other. Y'all deserve to be here in Atlanta and do whatever culture thing y'all gonna do together. Should nobody get in between y'all. Should nobody come between Tariq and his supporters. But y'all gotta have, the black community, the ADOS community, y'all gotta have some serious thinking time about what this man means to y'all and how the lens through what you view him. And if you don't believe me, just go back. Just go back through his tweets Go back to, I think it's November the 13th, around that period, that week leading up to the court case. The Byron Allen case was 13th. Go back to the week before that case. If you're not blocked by him on Twitter, go to the week before. Dude was killing the conspiracy theories. Who does that? Who acts that way? Who behaves that way?